My grandfather abandoned me at age 11, but that didn't stop me from going to heaven. My name is Joel, and this is Matt. Welcome to Curva Americana.
I have to say, that was quite the intro.
Yes, absolutely.
When you were saying it had nothing to do with soccer, I didn't expect that it was that.
Yep, deep and to the point, except it didn't actually happen. What do we got going on today, Matthew?
We're going to talk about the transfer window and
All right.
the past couple of, I'd say, weeks. We're not going to go into depth about every single transfer that's been made. We're just going to cover the biggest ones for, around the world, maybe Liga MX and MLS specifically.
Yep.
So we're going to open up with old Slabhead himself.
Slabhead?
Have you never heard that?
No.
That's his nickname because his head's gigantic. He looks like Ron Jans with that big block. Listen.
Oops.
There's no shame in his head size. It literally looks like a brick. That's why they call him Slabhead. He has a gigantic head.
Who is it?
Harry Maguire.
Oh, Harry Maguire.
Most expensive defender of all time. More than Virgil van Dijk. Now I have a question.
All right, go.
Do you think he's deserving of that transfer fee being higher than Virgil van Dijk, or do you think it's just because he's an English boy and English players are overpriced?
You seem to have a formulated opinion already.
I do. Kind of.
However, I will agree with you. I think he's kind of overpriced. I think he's a very good defender.
His stats were pretty good from last
Don't
season.
get me wrong
Right.
on that. I think he'll do well.
Right.
Is he worth
80-something
Is he
million?
more valuable than Virgil van Dijk?
No,
he isn't.
I think he should be close, but I don't think he's worth more.
Yeah, I think Virgil van Dijk's a better player.
I do too. I think he's like the best center back playing right now.
He's in the running for Ballon d'Or.
Right.
So
one of the favorites, not just in the running. He's one of the favorites. You know what I mean?
So over Messi and Ronaldo and them. So
granted, didn't have the best seasons last season, but Virgil van Dijk did have an amazing season with Liverpool last season. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Liverpool or Virgil van Dijk. We're here to talk about Harry Maguire. Do you think he'll have a good season next season, or do you think he'll get overwhelmed by the pressure on him because of his price tag?
Well, here's the thing. Well, to answer your question first, I do believe that he's going to do quite well, like I said. I don't think that he's going to be poor. I don't think he's going to perform below average.
But you don't think he's going to be
But I
amazing.
don't think he's going to be exceptional.
Yeah.
I think he will be kind of under the radar at most.
Maybe.
I guess. Well, I guess I'll say under the radar at least. But I don't have a huge, strong feeling about him. I feel like he's just going to be kind of quiet.
Right. Which is kind of going to suck for him because he's got the spotlight on him because of the price tag, you know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you think Manchester United, how does that bolster their squad?
Well, I mean, they get a good, I almost said striker, good God. They get a good center back in his prime right now. I mean, he's only 26.
Yeah.
He had a really good stat line. It was close to Virgil van Dijk, actually, I think. Don't quote me on that. But I think it was close to his stats. But I think overall United has more issues. Like, I think he helps, but I think the issues that United has also is going to hamper his season.
Gotcha.
Because of the fact that they have so many other issues underlying. You know what I mean? Because they still have Phil Jones and Chris Smalling and Ashley Young and a bunch of players who don't want to be there and a bunch of players who aren't good. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it goes for them.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
João Felix.
All right. What do you got?
All right. So other than Kylian Mbappe, he is the most expensive teenager of all time, which I don't know how I feel about that. I think it was like 170 million pounds or euros for João Felix.
Really? I thought it was like 140.
Let me check because I could be wrong.
And we got to see him in the
MLS All-Star game.
All-Star game, yeah.
I'm stupid. It was 120 million euros, which I don't know what that is in pounds or dollars because I'm American. but expensive regardless.
Yeah.
And some would say not warranted, that price. And I would kind of agree, because he had a good season with Benfica, but it's Portugal.
Mm-hmm.
Not knocking Portugal in the Portuguese league. They've developed incredible players. But for someone who hasn't seen a lot of first-team experience, I don't think that he's worth the 120 million euro price or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I agree to you. I think their entire base on that is potential.
Yeah,
That's
for sure.
That's all they're going after. I mean, he's young.
Yeah,
he's going
19,
to develop.
So, yeah.
So they're really basing it off that, and it was 120. What was it? 120 million. So, all based off potential. But do you think he's 120 million pounds?
I think
it's going to be ridiculous.
I think the potential was definitely an aspect of the transfer and why they would want to pay so much. But I also think it was Atletico trying to flex their financial muscle a little bit, because they haven't done that too much recently. And that I feel like they wanted to show that they can spend up there with the big dogs, you know what I mean? Like the Juventus and Man City and Real Madrid.
Okay, I can see that.
So while he may not be worth that, they're like, we want him. We have the money to. We want other people to see that we have the money to spend to get whoever we want. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. So big names will be like, okay, we can go to Atletico Madrid because I know I'm going to get paid if I go to Atletico Madrid.
That and just the transfer fee in general. They have the transfer budget to drop 120 million on some kid.
That's ridiculous, man.
He's not just some kid. He's good and he'll develop into a great player. But who knows? He's still only 19. He could develop into the next Ronaldo, or he could be Freddie Adu.
Freddie Adu.
Who knows?
That would be a massive disappointment, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Except nobody
120 million pounds for another Freddie Adu.
Except nobody spent that much money on Freddie Adu.
True.
So moving on to our next big transfer, not really globally, but especially in MLS, Christian Pavone.
Okay.
Huge. I would argue, other than David Beckham, the biggest signing in MLS history.
Really?
It's only a loan deal, but I mean, his value is literally more than 3 of the clubs in MLS alone.
Yeah.
He's 23. He played every match of the World Cup for Argentina in 2018. And the fact that MLS was able to get him on loan, possibly purchase him, possibly with the option.
That would be a stretch.
I mean, I think that was their plan, to try and get him, to purchase him.
Really?
Yeah, I think they were going to spend $24 million on him.
That's insane.
That's ridiculous
for an MLS club.
Yeah, absolutely. That would blow the record out of the water. But that would be a huge gain, not just for LA Galaxy, but for MLS as a whole. Because he's being looked at by clubs like Arsenal and Chelsea and PSG and all these big, huge European clubs. And
the LA Galaxy.
And LA Galaxy got him. They beat all these other big teams to sign Christian Pavone. And I think, mark my words, the LA Galaxy is going to qualify for the playoffs.
Ooh.
That's not a hot take. That's kind of, I think everybody knows that a little bit. But I think they'll make a cup run. If Zlatan can kind of focus.
Well, whenever Zlatan can do good whenever he actually decides to focus and wants to play.
Right.
So, throw that up in the air. Chalk it up to Zlatan. Okay, what's his temperament?
Right. It really depends on whether Zlatan wants to perform and whether or not Pavone is either going to actually live up to the hype or he's going to be P.D. Martinez. Because P.D. Martinez, he won South American Footballer of the Year. Mm-hmm. And you can ask any Atlanta fan, and they'll say he's been really bad.
Honestly, I'm going to give my personal opinion on Pavone.
Okay.
I feel like it's a huge get for MLS as a whole. That's awesome that we're able to get him and add him into the league because that'll boost our reputation up a little bit.
Right.
But I don't know how good he's going to do. I feel like I don't feel like he's going to do bad whatsoever. I feel like he's going to do good.
Right.
I just don't know if he's going to be super great and and all that. We'll see. Maybe he will be, and maybe I'm just ignorant.
I just want to mention, he plays for Juventus in my Football Manager save. And he's a starter.
We'll chalk it up there. There we go.
Football Manager. That's all you need to know.
Everything.
Football Manager. If it happens in Football Manager, it's going to happen in real life.
All right. There you heard it here first.
That's not sponsored, but, Sports Interactive. If you want to sponsor us with our 1 subscriber, hit me up.
That's right.
Link in the bio or the description.
Let's go, baby. Come on, Football Manager. We play your games too much for
Absolutely.
you not to sponsor us.
I broke 700 hours in 19 today.
Look at this man over here.
Not something I'm proud of,
hours.
but I am kind of proud of it. Not gonna lie.
Hey,
anyway,
he knows his football.
I do. I know Football Manager specifically. Anybody, I will own all of you. Any of you. That is a
you
promise.
Hear that, clubs out there? Hit this man up if you want a general manager.
Absolutely, dude.
Talk about transfer market. Get this man.
Bro, I will literally sign Ronaldo to Columbus Crew right now. Anyway, moving on. Mimo Ochoa, or Guillermo Ochoa, as his actual name is Guillermo. I'm going to say as he's more commonly known as, but I don't even know. He has moved back to Mexico, Club America specifically, who he actually played for earlier in his career, before he moved to, I think it was Spain. Let me check. Okay. I should do all this stuff beforehand, but I don't because we're not professional here. Okay.
Hey, shout out to that one person that might be listening.
You the real one, home slice. So he went from America to Ajaccio. It's some French team. And then Spain, and then he went to Liège. I'm too American for this. In Belgium. And then after that, he went back to America where he started his career at. So it's all kind of come full circle. Because they sold their goalkeeper. And I think I mentioned that on Twitter. What are they going to do with their goalkeeper situation? Because they don't have a starting goalkeeper. But now they do, and they have a very good one. Mexican national team goalkeeper. In the World Cup, he was absolutely phenomenal. I watched most of the Mexico games, and he was, if it wasn't for Thibaut Courtois being Thibaut Courtois, I think Mimo Ochoa should have won it. If Mexico had gone further in the competition, I think they should have, I think he should have won it, because he was incredible. Yeah. He was really, really incredible. And I would have liked to see him end up in MLS, but not anymore.
Truly.
I think they only signed him for $1 million too.
Oh,
they got him
ridiculous.
Yeah, they got him really cheap. Was it him? Let me go to our Instagram.
Sure it was.
Yeah, I think they got him. Yeah, $1 million, like 1.7. So
man, you didn't break the bank on that one, did you?
Pretty big bargain considering the things he's accomplished with the national team and the kind of player he is. Moving on to our next.
Oh, I can't wait for this one.
Romelu Lukaku.
I hate Lukaku.
Why do you hate Lukaku?
Heart. He's just a slow, inaccurate piece of trash.
Joel.
But somehow he gets sold for $74 million.
He's like Fernando Adi.
Yes. Have you heard of Fernando Adi?
Giassi Zardes.
The guy that was a DP in the Portland Timbers. He's bad.
Very bad. Very bad. They're like the same body style. They're tall, big, slow, bad.
All right. All right. I want your opinion. What is the interest for Inter Milan? Because he's transferred over to Inter Milan.
Right. Yeah.
So why did they pick this guy up? Give me your analysis. Why did they pick Romelu Lukaku?
Honestly, because they don't want Mauro Icardi anymore. So he's kind of being phased out, and Lukaku wanted out of Manchester United. And Serie A is kind of an easy league to play in if you're on one of the bigger teams. So I definitely think he's going to do well in Italy, just because of the fact if you're on any of the big teams, you're going to do good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know specifically why they wanted him as opposed to some other, world-renowned striker in some of the top 5 leagues.
I mean, $74 million.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
For Lukaku.
I mean, he still has a pretty big value, but his 3 seasons at United were kind of lacking a little bit.
Yeah.
He could have been better, but I mean, hey, if they've got the money, might as well spend it. I just think they could have spent it on somebody else that was a little bit more consistent.
I definitely agree.
Pepe?
Pepe.
Nicholas Pepe.
All right. Arsenal fans, in the chat, where are you? Are you happy and excited about this signing or not?
It kind of took everybody by surprise because what is his name? Their manager, Unai Emery. That's who it is. Was like, we only have 45 million pounds to spend, and then they go out and spend like over 100 million. They get a bunch of different players. Then they get Pepe, breaks their transfer record for this dude. I am interested to see how he's going to do because I don't know a whole lot about him. I know he was really, really good for Lille, but the Premier League is a whole different beast. You see players come into the Premier League, especially creative players like him, and just tank.
Just become a bust.
Right.
Straight up.
And then they leave the Premier League and they become incredible again because it's such a hard league to play in consistently, and actually be good.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how he acclimates to the Premier League and how he develops because he's still pretty young. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he goes because he can either kind of cement himself as a Premier League great or he could just flop and be another waste of money for Arsenal like most of their players have been.
So, speaking of Arsenal.
Yes.
How about David Luiz?
David, you swine. It's David. I'm going to say, what a snake. I don't even like Arsenal, or really even Chelsea. I'm just going to watch their games because Pulisic plays there. But
exactly.
That's a really high level of scumbaggery. To just go to, not even rivals, like crosstown rivals. Like, same city. Competing for the same kind of, like if he went to,
it's like a guy going from Liverpool to Everton,
right, or City to United.
It's like you can't do that,
right? So I think he's gonna get a very cold welcome to Chelsea Stadium, and I don't think many people like him at Chelsea right now. I wonder what his motivations were behind the move. He could have really picked any other team in Europe to go to. And he picked Arsenal. Like, I don't know if that was because Arsenal was the only team to offer for him.
Well, I mean, the price tag on him was...
It was like $9 million, I think.
Pretty low.
Yeah.
And I was surprised by the low price tag.
Yeah.
Especially with all the very expensive transfers that we've seen. Like,
Pepe,
most
Felix.
expensive defender of all time getting signed. Pepe for what?
80 something?
I thought it was 88.
Might be.
It was something like that, but regardless, the transfers have been exceptionally high in price.
Oh, it was $88 million.
Yeah, so exceptionally high in price.
Right, and then he goes for $9 million.
Yeah, so
yeah, I think it was a good bargain on Arsenal's, and especially when they need a center back badly.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
So how do you? I mean, off that, how do you think Arsenal's done this transfer window?
They've done a lot better than most people expected them to.
Yeah.
I think, because most people were going into this window, like they only have 45 million pounds to spend. They're not going to do anything. And then they go out and bolster their defense. They go out and sign Nicholas Pepe. And I think, honestly, that's all you really need to do. I know they signed a couple more people, but they took care of their biggest issues, and that's what's going to make a difference. Like, they could possibly qualify for the top 5 this season, honestly. That's what I think. It's going to be interesting to see where they finish because there are some teams that I think haven't done enough, like Manchester United. Yeah, I don't think they've really done enough that will see them into the top 4. They signed Daniel James from a championship team, Swansea. They signed Wan-Bissaka, who granted is a good player, but he's still really young, and he played for Crystal Palace. So he's kind of like untested at a really, really high level, like at United. And then Harry Maguire, who, I mean, he won the title with Leicester City, but he's still, I mean, he played good at the World Cup, but he's not played at a club level that's incredibly high every, day in, day out. So I don't think United's done enough, but I think Arsenal might have possibly done enough to finish in the top 4.
All right.
So now we're going back to Major League Soccer.
Alrighty.
Andrew Gutman. This kind of ties in to Scottish Premier League as well. FC Cincinnati desperately needed a left back.
Exactly. They really did.
That was one of their biggest issues because they drafted Garza in the expansion draft. No, they didn't. They traded for him right after the expansion draft.
And he's just been hurt all year.
And I mean, that's just been his biggest issue his whole career. Like, he could have been the best American left back of all time, easily. But injury absolutely ruined his career.
He has the moves, but can't use them if he's always on the sideline.
Right. Like, when he's healthy, he's the best left back in the league.
Yeah, but right now.
Right, and when he's injured constantly, he was a waste of money. So now they're having to play a right back at left back and a guy who's not a great right back at right back.
Yep.
But now with Gutman, that's all settled. Like, it's fine now. They have a left back who plays very similar to Garza, who would have been the greatest college player, in my opinion, the greatest college player of all time. Easily first overall pick, no questions asked.
And he played his first game tonight against Columbus in their rivalry game, and he showed some great acceleration.
Absolutely, he was very good. Still young, he's 22. But the good news for Cincinnati is they got him till the end of next season on a loan deal with a purchase option, as is the norm in MLS. Who knows if they'll actually activate that?
He seemed as if he was probably going to go back to Celtic.
Do you think he'll ever get game time at Celtic?
I don't know. I could see FC Cincinnati maybe trying to buy him.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really going to depend on his development over the next season and a half. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If he develops well, then Celtic are probably going to want him back. But if he kind of just stays at an MLS level, he'll probably stay in MLS. That's just what I think, though.
I mean, FC Cincinnati could definitely use him. So, all right, next one.
Christian Ramirez going from LAFC to Houston Dynamo. Yes, give us those details, brother.
All right, so the Houston Dynamo acquired Christian Ramirez in trade with the LAFC. So, as per Houston Dynamo, in my Football Manager save, Dynamo shelled out $100,000 in 2019 general allocation money, $75,000 in 2020 general allocation money, and $75,000 in 2020 target allocation money, along with additional future performance-based considerations for Christian Ramirez. The Dynamo said they were very pleased to add a player like Ramirez to their team. They say he's a proven goal scorer in the prime of his career. So, shelling out a little bit of cash for Christian Ramirez, how well do you think that he's going to fit?
I think he's going to do great. It was kind of because at Minnesota he was a monster. He was an absolute monster at Minnesota. He was one of their best players. And I think that move to LAFC was a bad move for Minnesota, a good move for LAFC, and an even worse move for Christian Ramirez. Because you look at LAFC and their attacking depth.
Yeah,
he's going to have to compete with Vela, Rossi, Diomande, yada, 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 yada. They have 5 strikers, or 5 people that can play up front.
Sounds like
in that
you
position.
and your Football Manager save.
Listen, I love me some striker wonder kids. I can't help myself, all right? It's an addiction. I'm trying to get help. But, it wasn't a good move for him because he was competing for playtime in a large pool of players with a very minimal amount of playtime available. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But if he can go to Houston Dynamo and cement himself as that number 1 striker, I think he'll find his Minnesota form again and start lighting the league up like he did with Minnesota.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Unlike with a lot of the transfers that I've been, talking about and analyzing, I really feel like this one has some good potential for him to just do very well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think this could be a good move
Okay.
It could be a really good move. Or it could, I mean, this is like the most obvious thing ever, but it's either going to do great or it's not going to be great at all and it's going to flop.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's going to be just an average player. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like he's going to do good.
I feel like it's more likely that he'll do good than he will do bad. Just because I don't know what the Houston Dynamo striker situation is right now because I'm not a Dynamo fan.
Mm-hmm.
But I will check real quick at who they have up front.
So, just as something that we can discuss in the meantime, the Dynamo are currently sitting in 9th place in the Western Conference, 3 points below the playoff line. Do you think that this this transfer trade, whatever, is going to help them get into the playoffs? Do you think they're going to make it? Do they have enough quality now to get there? Even just a last place in the playoff.
I think so. I do think it is possible because they do. I'm looking at it now, and they do have quite a bit of goal scorers on their team. I feel like he might have walked himself into another LAFC situation again because I'm looking, and they've got Mauro Manotas. He scored 44 and 120. Let's see. Who else? Albert Ellis, 18 and 47. Let's see.
I really feel like he's just going to step up and be that number one dude.
Yeah, it could take some time. It could take some time for him to kind of acclimate and cement himself into that role of, head striker. But I mean, he scored 21 goals and 50 appearances for Minnesota, and he was actually part of their NASL team too. I did not know that. He scored 51 and 90 appearances. So he scored a lot of goals. But he only scored 6 from LA in 24 appearances. So,
just a side note, Ramirez has also been capped by the U.S. men's national team, scoring 1 goal in 2 appearances.
Yep.
So
pretty exciting for him. Kind of a cool story, working his way up from NASL all the way to MLS, all the way to the U.S. men's national team, and taking his chances. And he's definitely delivering. Just kind of unfortunate about LAFC and how he performed there. So we have one last transfer we want to... Also, I just want to mention, the Columbus Crew also traded Nico Hansen, who played for them for 2 years, making 45 appearances and scoring 4 goals. He is a winger. They traded him for $75,000 of TAM, targeted allocation money.
I remember that now.
Yeah, pretty cheap. Not too expensive, considering some of the other trades that went on earlier this season that were kind of outrageous.
Yeah.
I will not name anyone in specific, because I don't want to anger anybody. So I will not say anything. But yeah, good luck to both Ramirez and Hansen as they continue their MLS careers in Houston. Moving on to our last one. This one, I believe, was a deadline day transfer.
Okay.
Thomas Chacon, who knows? I don't know. Going to Minnesota United.
Crap on.
Midfielder, 18 years old. He played for Danubio in Uruguay, making 2 goals and 20 appearances. He's played for the Uruguayan under-20s, under-17s, and under-15s, being a mainstay in both of those. He is worth roughly $399,000. So I think he might be one of those signings that not many people know about, honestly. I don't know much about him. I haven't heard of his name before they signed him. It could be interesting to see how he does. He's still so young,
Yeah.
It also is interesting to note they've signed him on a young DP contract. So they do seem like they're going to be starting him quite often. So I think he will either introduce himself into the league rather quickly in a good way or rather quickly in a not so good way. I could see him making a huge impact or no impact at all. It's just kind of up in the air right now. What? What?
I could see him making a huge impact or no impact at all.
Listen, just being honest with you. But we'll just have to wait and see because I feel like nobody really knows about him and how he's going to perform besides the Minnesota United front office.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because they were the ones that scouted him. So I'm excited to see how he does at Minnesota.
Yep. Definitely.
Good luck.
And Minnesota's definitely had a year.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. They're definitely doing a lot better than they were beforehand last season and the season before that. It's crazy that they came into the league the same season as Atlanta, and they've had much different seasons. Much different like MLS careers.
Yeah.
Atlanta's gone on to be one of the top dogs in MLS, and Minnesota's kind of taken their time. Historically bad, slightly less historically bad, playoff contenders, you know?
Yep.
So it's nice to see that they're both competing for the MLS Cup this season. I don't think Minnesota's going to make a huge playoff run, but they are doing a lot better.
Yeah,
I think they will qualify for the playoffs. So
yeah, I like that story.
With that, my friends, we are done here. We hope you've enjoyed watching.
We are done here, folks. We're done.
Hope you enjoyed watching. Please join us next week as we talk about something else that may or may not be soccer related.
Absolutely. And go follow us on Instagram, please, at Curva Americana, and Twitter. And look out for new and upcoming YouTube videos. We're going to get one out here soon, I promise.
I feel like one of those people that's like, and before the video, smash the like button.
Make sure to put that bell icon on ring.
Please, you don't have to if you don't feel led to. It's okay.
If you don't do it, we're going to kill you.
Okay. And with that, we're done. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.